Hi boys and girls. Today for lesson 14 in math, we are going to practice skip counting to help us learn our 4 times tables and to do some problem solving. So what you need first is your lesson 14 template that looks like this. It should be in your binder. So I'll give you a minute or so. You can stop the recording and come back when you're ready. Welcome back. We're going to skip count. We're going to practice skip counting by 4s using our template. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to be silent on all of the counts except for 4. So we're going to say in our heads, and you can hum as you do this. My pen is not working. You're going to say, 4. And then you're going to write 4 here. And then we're going to continue counting on the second row with 5. Okay? So here we go. 4. 8. 12. 16. 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. So we made it to 40. Now, we can write a multiplication fact that goes right along with each of these lines of our counting. The first one is we have 4 times one group. We did one group of 4, so that's 4 times 1 equals 4. Next, now when we get to 8, we had 4 in a group, and we have 2 groups of 4. 1, 2. 4 times 2 equals 8. Write all of these down. Now we're going to come along. We did groups of 4 times 3 equals 12. Next, we have 4 in a group times 4 groups equals 16. Now we have 4 in a group times 5 groups equals 20. Next, 4 in a group times 6 groups equals 24. 4 in a group times 7 groups equals 28. 4 in a group times 8 groups equals 32. 4 in a group times 9 equals 36. And finally, 4 in a group times 10 equals 40. I'll write it down here so you can see it. So there are our 4 times tables, boys and girls. You can refer back to this whenever you need to. Make sure that you fill all of this out, and it will be helpful for you when we start doing our problem solving. Now, what I would like to do is to do some problem solving with you. So you can watch, or you can get out lesson 14 homework, which is also in your binder, and we're going to do these together. We're going to read the questions carefully because sometimes they ask us to do skip counting and sometimes they ask us to draw a tape diagram. So we're going to read the problems very carefully and do what they ask us to do. Here we go. Lisa places 5 rows of 4 juice boxes in the refrigerator. Hopefully when we read this, we're getting a picture in our brains of what that looks like. 5 rows of 4 juice boxes. They tell us here to draw an array and skip count to find the total number of juice boxes. Okay? So right away, I'm thinking 5 rows. So I'm going to make my 5 rows. Remember, the rows are the things that go across in an array. And there's 4 in each row. So I'm going to fill in 4 juice boxes. So they've told us everything we need to know. What we need to do is find the total number of juice boxes, okay? And the way we're going to do that, we already drew our array. Now we're going to skip count. Go back to your lesson template if you need to. We're going to skip count 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. It doesn't ask me to write any kind of multiplication sentence. It just asks me to find the total. So I now know the total number of juice boxes, and I'll write it in the blank. There are 20 juice boxes in total. The next question, read it with me. 6 folders are placed on each table. How many folders are there on 4 tables? Draw and label a tape diagram to solve. So here they're asking us to draw a tape diagram. And for this one, we are also finding the total, aren't we? It says how many of them are on 4 tables. So what we're going to do, we're going to start by drawing our tape diagram. And it's always better to go a little bit bigger because we can always get rid of part of it if we need to. So what we know so far, we know, now down here we usually put the total. We don't know the total, do we? So I'm going to put a question mark with the total number of folders. That's what they're asking us to find. We do know that there are 4 tables. So I'm going to make 4 tables on my tape diagram. And up here, I know that on each of those tables, we have 6 folders. So now what I can do, I can draw my 6 folders on each of those tables. Each table has 6 folders. You can do this a couple of different ways. You could count all of those individually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You could do that. We could skip count. So we could have 6, and if you need to count in your head, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then write the next one, 12, and then skip count, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then write 18, and then count again, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and we get to 24. So we skip counted 6, 12, 18, 24. There are 24 folders. And that's our answer. If you wanted to go a step further, you could take 6 folders on each table times 4 tables and get 24 folders. The next one, read question 4 with me. Find the total number of corners on 8 squares. Now, you might think there's missing information here, but what do we know about a square? How many corners does a square have? 1 square equals 4 corners, doesn't it? If I have 1 square, I have 4 corners. So you could do this you could solve this 2 different ways. I'm going to show it to you both ways, and you pick the one that works for you. I know that I have 8 squares. So if I do an array, I'm going to make my 8 squares. So those X's represent my 8 squares. If I know that I have 4 corners on each of my squares, I'm going to fill in to make 4 corners on each of these squares. Now, what this is doing, you might think, oh, this takes so much time, but this is helping you to do your skip counts and to learn your 4 times tables, because now we're going to skip count by 4s over here. 4, 8, 12, 16, and you might not be this fast. You might have to hum and count 16, 20, 24. That's okay if you need to do that. Okay? So we could say we got to our total. There are 32 corners. Another way we could solve this is with the tape diagram. I could draw my tape diagram. What I do know is that I have 8 squares. So I need 8 squares up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to add one on to the end. What I know about each of those squares is that they each have 4 corners. So there are 4 corners. You could do this a couple different ways. You could draw 4 corners in each of those. If you feel like you're getting really good at skip counting, you could say 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. If you want to continue to draw your pictures, please do so. That is perfectly okay. But what I want you to try to do then is do the skip counting underneath, because the skip counting is going to help you learn your facts. So once we do that, now we can answer the question, how many corners do we have? We have 32 corners. So we solved this using an array and a tape diagram, and we got to the same answer. Different strategies to solve the same problem, boys and girls. You're going to work on your problem set now for 10 minutes, and I want you to work hard. You're going to practice matching some of your 4 times tables, and then you're going to do a little bit of problem solving. I want you to work really hard so that you can get to the back of the paper to do some of the problem solving. Have fun.